Welcome to Silent Betrayals. Today we unravel the gripping story of Ethan Cross, a 29-year-old software engineer whose life took a shocking turn just weeks before his dream wedding. What would you do if the person you trusted the most betrayed you? Stick around as we dive into Ethan's story of heartbreak, revenge, and redemption. The Seattle rain drummed steadily against the windows of Ethan Cross's Tesla as he pulled into his driveway, a smile playing on his lips. The house before him, their house, still felt like a dream. The warm glow from the living room windows promised comfort, promising the presence of Sophie, his fiancée of 11 months. In 2 weeks, she would become his wife. At 29, Ethan had built the life he'd always envisioned. His role as a senior software engineer, one of Seattle's most promising startups, had recently earned him both stock options and admiring glances from Silicon Valley headhunters. But more importantly, he had Sophie Harper, beautiful Sophie, who had said yes to his carefully planned rooftop proposal exactly 11 months ago. He reached into his glove compartment, touching the small velvet box hidden there. Inside lay a delicate silver bracelet, a surprise 2 weeks until forever gift he'd picked up during lunch. Sophie had been unusually distant lately, and he attributed it to wedding stress. The bracelet, he hoped, would bring back her radiant smile. The moment Ethan stepped through their front door, the air felt different. Heavy. Wrong. The house was unusually quiet, save for the soft classical music drifting from their Sonos speaker, Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major, Sophie's go-to soundtrack for difficult conversations. Sophie stood in their kitchen, her posture rigid. She wore her power suit, the charcoal gray one with sharp shoulders that she reserved for major presentations. Her makeup was flawless, but something in her eyes made Ethan's stomach clench. "You're home early," she said, her voice carrying an unfamiliar note. "Thought I'd surprise you." Ethan's hand instinctively touched the bracelet box in his pocket. "Everything okay?" Sophie's fingers trembled slightly as she set down her wine glass. Red wine. She only drank red wine when she was steeling herself for something unpleasant. "We need to talk, Ethan." The next few minutes stretched like hours as Sophie's words tore through the fabric of their carefully constructed future. Each sentence felt like a physical blow, leaving Ethan breathless. "His name is Ryan," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Ryan Mitchell." The name wasn't unfamiliar. Ryan Mitchell, Sophie's charismatic marketing director, who she'd mentioned with increasing frequency over the past few months. Ryan, who always had the right advice. Ryan, who understood the pressures of corporate life. Ryan, who had apparently been much more than just her manager. How long? Ethan's voice sounded foreign to his own ears. 3 months, Sophie admitted, then quickly added, "But the feelings. They've been there longer." The timeline hit Ethan like a freight train. 3 months. While he'd been testing wedding cakes, while he'd been secretly planning their honeymoon to Santorini, while he'd been building their future, Sophie had been dismantling it. That night, after Sophie left to stay with a friend and Ethan wondered bitterly which friend, he sat alone in their kitchen until dawn. The house felt like a museum of broken promises, the cooking classes they'd signed up for, the vacation photos on the fridge, the his-hers. Coffee mugs Sophie had bought as a joke. He didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, he opened his laptop and began to research. Ryan Mitchell's LinkedIn profile showed a man in his early 40s, with carefully styled silver hair and the kind of smile that belonged in a toothpaste commercial. His profile boasted of numerous awards and achievements, but something about it nagged at Ethan's analytical mind. Enter Liam Parker, a former tech security specialist turned private investigator. Ethan had worked with him briefly during a corporate security audit, and now Liam's particular set of skills would serve a different purpose. "I need to know everything," Ethan told him during their meeting at a discreet cafe in Pike Place Market. "Every skeleton, every secret, every lie." Liam's investigation revealed a pattern that made Ethan's blood boil. Ryan Mitchell wasn't just a workplace predator, he was a sophisticated fraudster. Behind the polished exterior lay a web of financial manipulation and corporate theft. Sophie wasn't his first affair within the company, but she was perhaps his most strategic, her position in marketing giving him access to funds he could quietly siphon. Ethan's tech background had taught him the value of systematic problem-solving. His pain demanded action, but his mind insisted on strategy. He began building what he called his recovery protocol. 1. Document everything. 2. Secure his assets. 3. Gather intelligence. 4. Strike precisely. 5. Rebuild systematically. He worked methodically, channeling his hurt into purpose. The evidence Liam gathered became a digital dossier, carefully annotated and organized. Every revelation about Ryan's fraudulent activities was categorized and cross-referenced. The strike, when it came, was surgical. An anonymous email to the company's board of directors, containing irrefutable evidence of Ryan's financial misconduct. A quiet word with Sophie's closest friend, revealing the full extent of the deception. A carefully worded letter to the State Bar Association regarding Ryan's previous legal troubles. Within weeks, Ryan's carefully constructed world began to crumble. The company launched an internal investigation. His previous victims, emboldened by his vulnerability, came forward. Sophie, discovering the full extent of his manipulation, found herself not only heartbroken but professionally compromised. As justice took its course, Ethan focused on himself. He converted their spare bedroom into a home gym, pouring his anger into punishing workouts. He threw himself into learning new programming languages, staying late at work to master cutting-edge technologies. The therapist he started seeing, Dr. Sarah Chen, helped him understand that his pain wasn't a weakness, it was proof he had been capable of deep love. The capacity to feel deeply, she told him, is also the capacity to heal deeply. Months passed and Seattle's seasons changed. Ethan's promotion to technical director came with an unexpected opportunity, leading a new office in Austin, Texas. The thought of leaving Seattle's memories behind held an appealing symmetry. He sold the engagement ring, using the money to fund a month-long coding boot camp he'd always wanted to teach. Helping others learn became an unexpected source of joy, a way to transform his pain into something productive. The tech conference in San Francisco, 14 months after the breakup, brought an unexpected encounter. Sophie looked different, smaller somehow, less certain. Her approach was hesitant, her once confident stride replaced by careful steps. "Ethan," she began, "I've been hoping to see you." He studied her, noting the absence of the magnetic confidence that had first attracted him. Why? To apologize. To explain. Ryan. He wasn't who either of us thought he was. I made a terrible mistake. Ethan felt something shift inside him, not forgiveness exactly, but a release. I know about the fraud, Sophie, about the other women, about everything. Her eyes widened. You're the one who exposed him. I'm the one who exposed the truth he corrected gently. The truth about him, about us, about everything. Back in Austin, Ethan's life had taken on a rhythm he enjoyed. His team was thriving, his startup idea was gaining traction, and the running group he'd joined had become a second family. The pain hadn't disappeared entirely, it had transformed into wisdom. One evening, while mentoring a young developer through a particularly challenging problem, Ethan realized something profound. His story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about transformation, about the strength found in rebuilding, about the power of turning pain into purpose. They say that the best revenge is living well, but Ethan had learned a better truth: the best revenge is growing beyond the need for revenge. His experience had taught him that while love might make you vulnerable, it's the recovery that makes you invincible. As he stood on his balcony overlooking Austin's vibrant skyline, Ethan reflected on his journey. The betrayal that had nearly broken him had instead rebuilt him, stronger and wiser. He was no longer the man who had been betrayed, he was the man who had transformed betrayal into triumph. The future stretched before him, not as a carefully planned path, but as an adventure waiting to be discovered. And for the first time in a long time, Ethan was ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that every ending was just another beginning in disguise. Thank you for experiencing silent betrayals. This story reminds us that our deepest wounds often become our greatest sources of strength. If you connected with Ethan's journey of resilience and redemption, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that explore the depths of human experience and the power of personal transformation. Remember, sometimes the most painful chapters of our lives become the most important parts of our story.